Joining me to discuss this is Andrea Jenkyns, Conservative MP for Morley and Outwood. There's no doubt, is there, Andrea, that the people of this country who drive cars have been very severely put upon. Just before I started this show today, welcome, by the way, very good morning to you. I read a tweet from somebody from Bath, where apparently they've now got specific parking machines where you enter your registration into the parking machine. It determines whether your car is a diesel car or a petrol car and charges you a different amount of money depending on how bad the pollution is supposedly coming out of your exhaust. You know, people are sick to death of it. Is Rishi Sunak finally going to get the message from the Independent Republic that we need more car-friendly policies, please, Mr. Prime Minister?
I think it looks that way, Mike. We need pro-realism because it's been completely bonkers, these green policies, to me, and it has been an attack on the motorist. And also, you know, I believe in freedom as well. You know, we shouldn't tell people how to heat their homes, what cars to drive. And I think if this is coming up in the free speech, fantastic, because let's face it, if we have more North Sea oil drilling, it not only increase energy security, but it also means it's made here in Britain, which is fantastic. Well, but I think one thing we need to highlight, Mike, is the Labour peddling fantasies, because we need oil and gas in byproducts as well. Yeah. So I mean, I would like to see us go further and look at fracking as well, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think Rishi Sunak's view of that is? Because at one point he said he was going to look into fracking and they were going to try and open it up for at least a discussion, but it seems to have been pushed off the table for now.
I mean, look what happened to Liz Truss when she was pushing the idea. Unfortunately, you know, you get too many members of Parliament who are not open to this. And I think if it's cheaper solutions for the consumer, and I know my constituents are struggling at the moment, so why not look into this? Yeah. But I mean, also what I'm hearing on the King's speech as well, Mike, I don't know if you read that this morning, about prison places abroad. I'm pro that. And actually, only last week I submitted a written question on this. And to me as well, if we're short of prison spaces, we can put illegal immigrants on barges. Why can't we put prisoners on barges as well? So I'm looking forward to this, hopefully, strong King's speech. Yes.
I mean, is this a sort of do or die one then for Rishi Sunak, as far as you're concerned? I mean, we've got William Clouston here from the Social Democrat Party. We are probably similar in our view that he's probably got until about next October. He's not going to call an election before that, we don't think. But, I mean, this is his opportunity to show that he is actually a proper Conservative.
I mean, look, the polling's dire, and look at those by-elections last week. I mean, I literally, I WhatsApped Rishi saying my views on how we need to be more Conservative, and the by-election should be a realistic wake-up call for him and our party. We do need to be more Conservative. We need to take control of immigration. The stuff we're seeing on the streets, and as your previous guest said, we can't have a two-tier policing which treats people differently. You know, we need to be the party that's strong on crime, low taxes, and control of our borders, and also free speech as well, Mark.
Right. But he does know this, doesn't he, Rishi? I mean, the problem is that, you know, he keeps telling us he wants to lower taxes, but he's not going to be able to do it. He's going to have to find a way, I think. He keeps telling us that he wants to make the boats stop coming, but he still hasn't managed it. I mean, I presume he must know that he's not doing that well.
Well, I mean, look, any prime minister that surround themselves with advisors, don't they? I'd love to know whether their advisors are flowering things up or they're actually giving the honest truth, what people feel. That's why I felt the need to send this WhatsApp, that I didn't sugarcoat anything. I was quite brutal in my messaging.
Yes. And so what would you tell him to put in for sure into the King's speech?
Well, I think, first of all, it'll be about lowering taxes. It'll be about looking at alternatives for the prison places, like we said. It'd be coming out of the European ECHR. Yeah. So we can actually control our borders. This is what, if I was him, this would be what I'd be telling him to do. And also the RSHE, the sex education in schools. You know, never mind putting a letter out to saying that parents are allowed to see the material being taught. I think we ought to pull these modules. It's inappropriate for young primary school children.
Yeah, and I think most parents would agree with that. What about Keir Starmer? What would you tell him to do? Because he's got himself in a right old muddle after those by-elections. He should have been living high on the hog, instead of which he's got himself really bogged down with his own party
I think,
on his views on the Middle East.
I mean, I think, look, we know the Labour Party is stuck with a hard left membership. Many of their members are instinctively opposed to the West. You know, they don't like NATO, they don't like free speech, they don't like free enterprise. They hate our history of our fantastic country. So I think it highlights, actually, there's still a problem with anti-Semitism in the Labour Party. And as your previous guest said, you know, he's between a rock and a hard place politically, because he knows which groups of people are voting for him. And he's got to just actually come clean of what his own views are. But as in your previous discussion, he's a lawyer, so he'll no doubt try and avoid answering that question.
Yes, I mean, he does seem to specialise in avoiding answering questions, doesn't he? And whenever he does answer a question, he then claims, oh, I wasn't answering that question, I was answering the one before.
Yeah, absolutely. And the flip-flopping. And also, Mike, I think the public should never forget that how twice he tried to get Jeremy Corbyn into number 10.
Yeah.
You know, where's his principles
Right.
for trying to, you know, support this man into number 10?
Right. Final question for you, Andrea. What's it like currently in the Westminster group of Tory MPs? Are a lot of them going to quit before the election comes around? Is there anybody there who feels like they're going to be hanging in there for the long run, they're going to be fine?
Well, I mean, first of all, the WhatsApp group of Conservative MPs, I came out of that when what happened to Boris, so I'm not party to that anymore. I came out in protest. But no, I mean, the general feeling is, I think there's a lot of apathy, a lot of worry for people with their seats. But ultimately, we just want the party and our leader to be more conservative and get conservative policies out there and regain the trust of the electorate.
Yeah, I think that's the point. And he's got to convince those Tory party members and even just Tory voters who didn't bother voting in those last two by-elections, give them a reason to vote for them.
Absolutely. And we need to show there's, you know, a distinctive difference between the Labour Party and ourselves, because, you know, when I've got on the doorstep over the last year, what's the difference between Labour and Conservative? That's a worrying place to be in because of the high taxes. So we need to lower taxes and, as we've discussed, be more conservative, Mike.
Yeah. Andrea, good to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed. Andrea Jenkyns,